is home. What's up? Every girl needs a little money. Okay, let me see. Oh, you guys. Well, last week. Why am I talking like this? Last week I posted my little video. It was like, I feel like the first time that I created something, like, and it was really fun because, okay, let me go back. Where have I been? So after I posted my first initial video, hello, how are you? Man, maybe one day, like, when I'm on stage, I can just perform with my bonnet, and that would be like my look. You know what I mean? How fun it would be, because I don't have to spend any money on like wigs or anything like that. But anyways, but I would like to spend money on wigs because wigs are very cute. Yes, so I came to give you guys an update on what's been going on with me, what's up with me. So I know I did my first video and then I went kaboom, it disappeared. Maybe that's a bad habit, but really maybe I should have made like videos about it or whatever, but I didn't. I just wanted to now just come and talk to you and let you know what happened. So after I made that video, I was in the process of basically getting a new job, and I was very excited because in my head my plan was like, hey, you know, having $3,000 a month is very important. It's better than having no dollars. And you know, I mentally I didn't realize, hey, like after the day is done, then you will be working on music and, you know, living life, but then you'll have money and stuff like that. So my job that I got, it was like on a good traffic day, 45 minutes away, and then on like when it's rush hour time, it would be an hour. So I just kind of have to calculate what time I get there, and if I don't want to drive for a whole hour, then I would just need to wake up a little bit earlier and leave a little bit earlier, and then that way I'm not like, you know, rushing with everybody that's trying to get to work like right at 8 o'clock. Okay, so generally I used to wake up at 5 a.m. and sometimes I still try to do that. That's like the best time to wake up. That way I can have some alone time before the day starts, pray, do any like readings, journaling, like my morning pages that I need to do before the day starts. Like I like to take out my thoughts so that I'm all sorted, rather than like waking up to a conversation, stuff like that. No, we're not into that. But anyway, so I got my job. I was very excited. I was like, yes, your girl's got some dollars. And then I was like so over it when I was there, because I felt like I didn't realize how different life would be when you have like a full-time job. I mean, I've had a full-time job before, but maybe I have changed as a person or something. And so I really like had forgotten how like constricting the environment is a little bit. Where is the camera? Is it right there? Is it right there? Anyways, so when I went to work, some of the challenging things is like I realized that when I was working part-time, like I would work with kids, so being weird is like a very important part of that job. You just make random noises, you dance, you hang out with the kids and stuff like that, and it's just normal to make noises and sing and dance and stuff like that and to move around. But then like when you're in a corporate environment, you just sit and you're supposed to be normal. You don't like, I really got used to like my own presence and like getting the chance to like talk to myself. And like when you understand, if you work in a corporate environment, you know, like you talk to other people or you're sitting in silence, talking to, I don't know, you're just sitting in silence working on your training assignments, and then afterwards you're like, my specific position was to take phone calls where we would help people with their 401ks and stuff like that. And you know, I was like, you know, I've done this type of position before, like for the money, let's do it. You know, I was getting ready to do the thing, and I stayed there for like about a month, and then I just realized, you know, week one I was like, oh my god, like I felt like trapped in a way, you know. I was like, dang, I really, like, the whole entire day I mean, I'm talking to, like, I guess I'm interacting with my fellow employees and stuff like that, but and I felt like I was having, you know, the information needed, and I was learning about all this stuff, and I just realized, I was like, I don't want to be here for a long time, you know. I guess the idea would be to, like, get promoted down the line, and then, you know, but like I mean, you get promoted, blah blah blah, like you just keep going up even from that position, and it would be like going from 50,000 to 60,000 to 70,000. It was not like, I don't know, I just didn't feel like that was gonna be the place for me. And then in my head I'm like, I want to write music, I want to learn about the industry and like figure out how I'm gonna operate my own stuff, you know. And if I'm spending the whole day like doing business for the specific company that I was working for, then I wouldn't be doing business for myself, you know. And yeah, so I was just like, every day I know, and the thing is, like, I know I could have just shut down my brain and said, brain, shut up, like, we need money, like, we're just gonna stay here. And I just feel like I've done that my whole entire life, you know. I've been like, no feelings, sit down to the side, I'm not listening to you, blah blah blah, I have to go to college, I have to do this, have to. And you know, the reality is, like, to a certain extent you do need to do that, but then, like, I feel like if I don't do this now, like, as I continue to get older, I feel like people give you less room, like, if I'm, you know, less room to experiment. It's almost as if, like, when you hit 30, like, your life is over or something like that, and you can't experiment with things or like make bold decisions. Especially, I mean, not thank God, I want to have children someday, but I don't have any children right now, so and no man, everything. So like, it's just really the best time to like make bold moves or take risks and, you know, learn whatever you need to learn, you know. And it's very challenging because like, for me, I have this vision of like where I would like to be, where I would like to go, and that was not aligned, the job was not aligned, but I was just trying to do it because, you know, I needed to grab some money. And then I was thinking that once I get paid, and I forgot, like, with my old job I used to get paid every month, and I forgot that get paid every 2 weeks or whatever, or like, I think the first week it was like every 3 weeks. But then, because my process was like, you know, as soon as I get paid, I'm gonna go ahead and start like singing lessons, and then use the money for that. And then, but I realized at the end of the day, like, I would be like done with work, and I would be like a zombie, like, because I was so tired, and I just wouldn't want to do anything else except like sit there. And then I felt like my dreams were being crushed in a way, and like I was dying. You know, I don't know if that's crazy and very dramatic, but like, that's just how I felt. I was like, I gotta get out of here, because it's like, I felt like I had finally started to reconnect with myself as a person, as an artist, and to start like writing and taking more courageous steps by going to open mics and stuff like that. And then that whole month I didn't do any of that. I just didn't have the energy even to make any content or anything. And I was like, bro, this is crazy. And I was like, is it really worth it? So if you listen to the song from last week, I was talking about how, like, what did I say? I gotta like go through the whole rap in my head. Once upon a time in a land far, far away, there was a bad bitch named CC. Yeah, face complex, hips don't lie, shake up bottle, boys wanna cry. But she got a little secret, she never said a lot. Shh. She got a pancake ass behind, but she worked real hard. Bulgarian goblets, sumo squats, ate up all the protein, and that ass got fat. It's fat. Her ass got fat. But oh, beginning golf at sumo squats, and a pile of protein and that ass got far. She threw it back in the morning, threw it back in the evening, threw it back all the way to the gym and back to the car. One day she woke up, she needed some money. You got a full-time job, working 40-50 hour weeks. I was telling you, because I know, like, it's crazy because yesterday I met somebody randomly at this karaoke place that I went, and the person was like, oh, I have 3 jobs, and I was like, I overheard them talking to somebody else, and then when I met them, I was like, oh, I just quit my job. And I was like, I really admire people that are able to do that. And to me, to be honest, like, I know it sounds like crazy to, like, in this economy, to like quit your job and stuff, you know? And I, like, although I'm laughing right now, I'm very intrinsically, like, distressed and stressed, because I have this need. I need to make some money, but I don't want to make money by having those type of jobs and stuff, because then that having those type of jobs is gonna continue to procrastinate on the thing that I want to do, and then I will be stuck living a life that I don't want to live, and it's very scary. And so I have been working on my artist way, continuing to work on that, and then I've been reading Think and Grow Rich, because I know there's something that needs to make a switch here, you know, from thinking about, like, one of the quotes that it said in the book, it was very interesting. I'm gonna read it to you. The basic gist of it was like, life would pay any wage that I asked for. If I asked for a penny, life would give me a penny, but if I had asked for more, life would have given me more. So one of the things that it talks about in Think and Grow Rich is how, like, whatever it is that you settle for, you ask for, that's what you get. And technically, whatever you resort to working for, that's what you get, you know what I mean? And so if I say, hey, my worth is 3K a month, and thus I will work 3K a month and procure that much. But what if I say, instead of 3K, I want, like, I know it's not, to some people, like, even 50K a month is not even, like, is tiny, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, like, different types of employment have their own different, like, amounts of payment. Like, you could be, like, a performer who does one show, and that show brings in, like, I don't know, $500,000, and once, you know, I don't know how long you have to make that last, but there's that perspective, like, you get paid and do work like that, versus you saying, hey, I need insurance and I need security of a job, and you get 3K every single month in exchange for 40 hours of your life, you know, versus, you know, working towards your dreams that may not initially pay, but, like, eventually will give you millions. And I just want to figure out, what is it that I need to do right this very moment, because it's, like, very stressful, because I'm like, girl, where's the money? Give me the money. Where's the money? Now that you quit, go ahead and make me some money from your music. And it's like, please, let's calm down. But I still need to, like, write down my steps and exactly what I'm gonna do. And this is a part of the steps. Let's talk. And this is what I've been thinking about too. Like, I feel like as musicians, okay, last year on my birthday, I released my song, I Love You, My Money. I still love it. Like, I really play it on my car rides and stuff, just to remind myself I am that bitch. And, like, I remember, like, putting it on Spotify and streaming platforms and stuff like that, and how I think it eventually made, like, 0.01 cents. I need to go back and double check if it has made any money, but if, like, you would just need a lot of streams in order to be able to make a lot of money. And I think about, like, freaking McDonald's. Does McDonald's go ahead and pay money? Well, technically, yeah, we are. I mean, whenever you put music on the platforms, if you're not a musician and you wanted to know that detail, whenever you put in music, you have to go through, like, a distributor, and when you go to the distributor, you have to pay the distributor money to get your music on like platforms like Spotify and stuff. And so like this history, this work of art that you made is going to be put on there to compete with various like millions of artists, both established artists and, you know, independent artists, all types of artists, to compete for attention, you know? But when you put it on there, technically you're putting it out there for free, you know, $0. And I'm like, McDonald's, even McDonald's makes you pay $5 for that meal. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, dang, like, I think that the perspective has to change. And like, I thought about how it's a little bit annoying because like, technically we are consenting, right? We're human beings and we have free will. And that's putting our music on like, you know, those platforms is free will. But thus by putting it on there, you also set the value for it. And I just think that, like, you know, as artists, we need to make a living and we need to eat and we deserve to eat. And I think that, you know, your song deserves more than 0.0001 cent, you know, over the course of 3 months or whatever. So there just has to be a better way, you know what I mean? And I don't want to complain. I don't want to be like, why isn't it like this, blah, 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 blah. I know we can figure it out, but I thought about these things. And speaking of like the music industry and how like I had been following up with like the trial, Diddy and Cassie trial and stuff like that. It's so horrific, man. But it always made me think about how like people in the music industry are powerful and you need to have connections. And sometimes it scares me a little bit because, not just a little bit, that stuff is just kind of weird, you know, especially being like Christian and stuff like that. People always say like there's some demonic stuff going on in the music industry, and it's very weird, and I just don't want to go down that route, and I don't necessarily want to be involved in that. And so I thought about it, and some of the most powerful things like we don't realize is like, yes, industry professionals, the investors and stuff like that have a lot of power, but at the end of the day, the people who have the most power is you. It's you. Because I come up here, talk about my life. If you know, resonate with it, if you buy a ticket, if you listen to the songs, you are the most powerful, you know what I mean? Like, if you decide, hey, like, oh, I am going to never like listen to or pay a monthly subscription to Spotify, then Spotify wouldn't make money. And or you know, if you say, hey, I like this artist and I really like what they got going on, I'm gonna support them, I'm gonna listen to their songs, buy their merch, and that's also like the power that you have. And so I think that there is a lot more free will that we are not thinking about, and I need to personally use my free will. And we don't necessarily have to do things like the way it's always been done. Before Spotify and there was LimeWire, and before LimeWire, whatever, those things, they were like records. So there's like new things that can come about. It doesn't have to be the same thing. So let's continue on this journey of figuring out. And I realized something, because one of my friends was talking about how like, oh, we're both unemployed together or whatever, and I agree with her. Technically true, because I left a position, I'm unemployed, but I want to see it in a different way, because I felt really bad, honestly. I felt a lot of shame and like, oh, why are you quitting such a good job? Again, to myself, like personally, because it's like everything is not squared away and everything's not like I'm certain that I'm gonna make this amount of money once I leave the job, you know what I mean? So for me it's scary, and for the public, for whom I don't have like an exact correct explanation for why what the hell I'm doing, it's a little bit scary. But I wanted to say also that just as you would be employed with a company, thus you say, I am an employed person, you know, I'm making money, I'm not a broke bitch. then you could also say that you are in self-employment, you know? You may not be making money just yet, but it should also be like a laudable thing to be in business for yourself and in business to, you know, live out your purpose. Yeah. Let's go.